In the Appalachian Mountains, the trees grow so close together, they seem to whisper secrets. Secrets no outsider was ever meant to hear. The locals call these narrow valleys hollers, and they'll tell you one thing about the woods after dark. Something listens. It always has. Evan Carter learned this truth on his very first night in Pine Hollow. He had traveled from far away to restore his late grandfather's cabin. It was a weather-beaten place, clinging precariously to the mountainside. There was no phone signal, no nearby neighbors. Just the constant sigh of wind through the ancient trees and the creek murmuring its endless song below. That first evening, as the sun dipped below the ridgeline, painting the sky in bruised purples and reds, Evan heard it. A howl. It was unlike any wolf's cry he'd ever heard in documentaries. This sound was longer, deeper. It rose and fell with an unsettling rhythm, carrying a raw emotion. It spoke of anger, perhaps hunger, or even a profound, ancient pain. The next morning, Evan asked an old woman at the general store about the sound. She froze mid-sentence, her eyes fixed on some distant point. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You hear that at night?" she said. "You don't answer it. You don't follow it. And you don't stay outside." She rang up his supplies without another word, her gaze never quite meeting his. Over the next few nights, the howls came closer. Always from the dense trees. Always just beyond the reach of his lantern's flickering light. Evan began to notice strange tracks near the cabin. They were too big for a dog, too long to be a bear. And sometimes, just before the first hint of dawn, he'd find deep claw marks carved into the old wooden porch. One night, the gnawing curiosity finally overcame his fear. When the howling began, a sound now intimately familiar, Evan grabbed his flashlight. He stepped out into the inky blackness of the woods. The beam cut a narrow path through the thick fog curling between the trees. The air was heavy with the smell of damp earth and something metallic, like iron. Then he heard footsteps. They were heavy, uneven, circling him slowly. Then he saw it. Tall. Far too tall. Its shape was wrong, stretched unnaturally between man and beast. Its eyes glowed a pale, unsettling gold. They were fixed on him with an intelligence that felt disturbingly aware. It did not attack. It simply watched, a silent, towering sentinel in the mist. Then, from somewhere behind Evan, a voice called his name. It was low and broken, like dry leaves rustling. "Boy," it rasped. "Go home." The creature stepped back into the darkness, melting into the trees as if the forest itself had swallowed it whole. The next morning, Evan packed his few belongings. He left Pine Hollow for good, never looking back. The cabin, his grandfather's legacy, was abandoned to the whispering woods. He never returned. Years later, hikers still report hearing howls echoing through those mountains, especially on full moon nights. Some say the sound isn't a warning anymore. It's a reminder. The Appalachians don't forget. And some guardians of these ancient mountains were never meant to be human forever.